Alright, you lot. Strap in, zip up, and toss kids out of room. Because today we're going in raw, loud, and legally questionable. Let's talk about ownership in gaming. Or should I say, steaming turd pie lie that you own any of your digital bollocks. Spoiler alert, you don't. What you've got into ownership, it's a permission slip written in blood and lube by a bunch of corporate ghouls who'd sell their own nan for quarterly growth. You thought that disc meant something? That download were yours? Mate, you've got more rates in public toilet than you do in most modern Eulers. And tonight, we're not just tearing bandage off, we're ripping out stitches and setting wound on fire. This enter video is a fucking exorcism, and demon's name is terms of service. Let's burn this bitch down. Let's start with biggest piss taker all, physical games. Remember when disc meant you actually had a copy of fucking game? Yeah, not anymore. Now it's just a glorified DRM coaster, a plastic prop for illusion of ownership. Xbox? Most of their so-called physical games are just download triggers. You shove in disc and it goes, cheers, now downloading 100 gigabytes of bollocks from a server we might shut down next week. Oh, and you still need disc in drive to play it, because Microsoft don't trust you to not be a dirty little pirate with game you paid for. Nintendo? The new Switch 2 cartridges reportedly don't even include game anymore, just a fucking key to download it. That's right, they're selling you a plastic turd full of hope and disappointment, and if servers vanish, so does your game. PlayStation? Not innocent either. More and more discs are just install stubs, if you're lucky. Rest is a patchwork of day one downloads and online check-ins so constant it's like having a parole officer for your console. This isn't preservation, it's planned obsolescence with a price tag. It's gaming equivalent to buying a car, only to be told it won't start unless Ford checks your licence every morning. And dumbest part? People still collect this shite like it's 1999. But my shelf looks nice. Mate, it's a shelf of fucking lies. You got a museum of access tokens that'll be as useful as a floppy disk when servers die. Congratulations, you've been sold nostalgia in a box, minus actual game. You don't own it, you just rent illusion, and they can revoke it while laughing in your face. Let's also kick digital bollocks, because if physical games are a scam wrapped in plastic, then digital games are a full-on back alley mugging with terms of service wedged up your ass. You buy a game on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, wherever. What do you actually get? A lovely little license to access it. Not to own it, not to modify it, not to back it up, just to access it until they say otherwise. You paid 70 quid for that new hotness? Tough shit, mate, you own fuck all. It's Netflixification of gaming, except instead of paying monthly to stream, you're paying up front for a game you can lose overnight if your account gets banned, servers go down, or publisher decides you're no longer in alignment with our community standards. Translation, you tweeted something spicy in 2016, so now your library's gone. Suck it, peasant. EA, Ubisoft, Blizzard, they've all got same lawyer-written love letters that say, you agree we can revoke your access for any reason, at any time, and you'll smile while we do it. That's not ownership, that's fucking serfdom with cutscenes. And don't even start with refunds. Once you've clicked install, you're basically locked in. You can't test drive it, you can't return it, and you sure as shit can't complain about bugs, because industry already told you. Early access is code for pay to QA this mess for us. They've weaponised convenience, tricked gamers into thinking downloads and cloud saves were future, when really it's just corporate surveillance with sided digital eviction. You want to see how bad it's going to get? Wait until next ownership requires a subscription just to launch fucking game. It's coming. Gamers will cheer it on like rats clapping while ship sinks. We're not just losing games, lads. We're losing fucking plot, and half of you too busy buying deluxe editions to notice. But you know what? Let's rip into the soft whimpering underbelly of this whole scam. Fanboys. Stockholm syndrome-ridden, ball-gargling, PR-parroting fanboys who defend this shit like it's the religion. These are the same twats who'll screech, well, actually, you don't really need to own your game anymore. It's all about access and convenience. Oh, is it? You lobotomized lettuce. Tell me, when servers go offline, does convenience suck you off while you stare at Brocken Launcher? These lads treat corporations like football clubs. They don't care about ethics, ownership or preservation. They just want to defend the team, no matter how many times they get bent over by it. You could hand them a pile of radioactive dog shit with PlayStation logo on it, and they'd call it a brave new direction. And don't even get me started on everything's going digital, stop being a boomer crowd. Newsflash, you gormless TikTok-fueled clowns. This isn't about age, it's about basic fucking consumer rights. Shouldn't need a law degree and a magnifying glass to find out that your 70 quid purchase is actually a revoke-on-demand rental from a company that's already shut down 6 games this year. And worst bit, the mock people who do gear shit. You mentioned DRM? Tinfoil hat. You care about game preservation? Just pirate it, bro. You point out long-term consequences? Why are you mad? It's just a game. Just a game? Mate, it's a fucking 200 billion quid industry built on lies. And you're over here cosplaying as its unpaid defence attorney like it's gonna land you free Funko Pop. These aren't fans. The cultist in denial, jizzing over digital chains cause they've never known freedom, and too many of them are dragging restaurants down with them. Every time one of these bellends claps for Ubisoft removing another game from sale, a preservationist dies inside. This isn't fandom, it's fascism with a fan club, and it's infecting gaming like a fucking STD in a frat house. And it's about time someone started throwing antibiotics. This was never about innovation, it's about control. Pure, unfiltered, capitalist as fuck control. What they want is total dependency. You don't buy games, you rent dopamine. You don't play for fun, you engage with content. And every second you're logged in, they're squeezing every last drop of data, attention, and cash out of your ass like there's some digital cow strapped to a monetisation milking machine. They want a world where you don't own out. You subscribe to everything, and you spend real money on fake shit that don't even exist once servers die. This is digital feudalism. They're lords, you're peasant, and every microtransaction is your tithe to stay on fucking land. New generation of games aren't made to be played, they're made to be managed. Live service grinds, FOMO events, season passes, weapon XP boosters. It's all designed to exploit addiction, psychology, while giving you fuck all in return. Half a broken product wrapped in slick marketing and bugged to hell, just to be discarded in a year when next SKU arrives. And don't think this ends with games. They're already cooking up platform exclusive ownership. You'll need a fucking subscription to access your own fucking library. Imagine Steam saying, you aren't logged in for 60 days, so we've reclaimed your license. Laugh now, but give it 5 years. They want complete compliance, and they're weaponising convenience, laziness, and clout-chasing influencers to get it. Average gamer today is a passive wallet with thumbs, and industry wants to keep it that way. Day you stop questioning, it's day they win. And if you're not angry by now, you're either I, dead, or a fucking Ubisoft shareholder. We're standing at edge of gaming's cultural grave, and these bastards are selling tickets to funeral. But you know what? Fuck them. All of them. It's bitter truth, served raw and unlubed. If you're still buying games, you're funding your own digital imprisonment. You're not a consumer anymore, you're a fucking host for a parasite with a logo and a license agreement. You don't own games. You lease access, you rent nostalgia, and you pay premium prices for privilege of being disposable. For if you're like me, if you walk and fuck up, you stop feeding beast. You take free shit, exploit test systems, ride Game Pass like Trojan horse, and you laugh while their business model slowly chokes on your non-payment. This isn't just a rant, this is a call to arms for latest gamers with a brain and a backbone. So next time some fanboy defends the digital leash, pat him on head and walk fuck away. Let them rot in the Ubisoft dungeon while we burn old fucking house down. Join Discord, follow on X, and if you're mad enough, join channel membership. Links are in the description. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave your answers and questions in comments. Might just feature them on channel. They're not complete bollocks. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.